Everyone, welcome to the Christ and Coffee podcast. I'm Pastor Jeremy. This is my friend Haig, and we've got with us today Reverend Razmig Minassian, Executive Director of Camp Arev Ministries in California. Welcome to the show, Raz.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Glad to be here.
You've been director there since 2013. You told us offline that you count your years by the amount of summer camps that you've overseen. So you've seen 9, or you're going into the 9th?
This year will be the 9th summer. The question is, does last summer count?
Yeah, right.
So
right.
If last summer actually counts as a legitimate summer camp, because it was virtual, then this will be my 9th summer. If there's going to be an asterisk next to that last summer, then this will be my 8th summer.
Either way, man, you're putting up real numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a harder year last year because everything going virtual, it's like there's so much offline that has to be done before you actually get virtual reality, virtual ministry up,
So how did the virtual summer camp go? Like what was unique about it? Like what were some creative ideas that came through a virtual camp?
So we decided that we wanted to do something at camp as opposed to locally here at the church or someone's house or something like that. So we actually dragged everybody that was going to participate in this virtual camp to camp, and we had a whole production team in the chapel filming for 2.5 days for summer camp. We did a juniors week, and then we combined junior high and high school, and we did a junior high and high school week. And like you said, Jeremy, it was actually more stressful than actual real camp, because there's so much that goes into the production and the editing and behind the scenes and all of that. And we're definitely not, professionals in that, I'm used to getting up on stage and welcoming people, right off the bat. And that was completely different. So, but it was fun. We had a good turnout. We had over 120 kids that came through, and they were blessed by it. Many of the parents were, very encouraged by it, that their kids were participating in this, and obviously they wanted more, and we all wanted more, but that's the best we could do. So.
Yeah. Did you guys must have had to get like professionals to do the editing and stuff, because it was good. I mean, I saw a couple of things you guys produced, and
I learned a lot. I must say.
You did some of it on your own?
So I did some of the animation stuff.
Nice.
So I worked on all the. I mean, if you watch the videos, you see this animated character that comes on the screen and says "Arev" from Camp Arev. So I worked on all of that animation. I learned literally how to do animated characters.
Jeez.
And then here at our church, we have a fantastic team. I mean, for those who don't know, I'm in Fresno, and I'm here at the First Armenian Presbyterian Church right now. And our team, Brandon Petrie and David Christensen, were the ones that actually did all the shooting and the editing and the filming and all of that. So they're fantastic guys. And a few months before, our church had actually bought all sorts of equipment for live streaming, and nothing was actually put in place in terms of like permanent locations. So we took all of that, we went to camp, recorded everything, brought it back, and installed it. So it worked out perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How have you guys been? Like, one of our common themes with ministry leaders on the podcast has been how you're adjusting to like life under COVID and all the craziness that's going on. So ministry wise, like how have you guys had to adjust to life under COVID and all the details there?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of camp, one of the adjustments we made was basically doing a lot of things online and focusing on social media. So we're pretty active on Instagram. All our kids or campers are active on Instagram. So we post a lot of things on there, and we try to, be in front of everybody. And try to encourage people through the Word of God and through different posts, and remembering the the old days. And when I say the old days, it's like, I post pictures from the year before.
Yeah.
and they all get nostalgic about it because, oh, remember that time we were on the mud pit, and remember what happened. So just create those moments on social media, and they love it. A few of the other things we've done, I'm sure we're going to talk about it a little bit later, is, the construction project, but we've created opportunities for small groups to come to camp and volunteer for the construction project. Especially earlier on during the construction project, there were plenty of volunteer work in terms of demo. So there were a few opportunities for youth leaders to bring their youth to come to camp and do some volunteer work and kind of see each other there, and create that ministry moment, or even just be at camp, be at 4,500 elevation, so.
Yeah, Razmig, can you give us like about just a history of Camp Arev, how they got started, especially for those who are not connected, who are listening to the Armenian Evangelical Union? Can you just give us the background of this ministry?
Yeah, gladly. So the ministry started back in 1977 with a group of people, Armenian evangelicals, who wanted to create an opportunity for people to gather up on the mountaintop and hear the gospel, because there were other opportunities to go up on the mountain, but they weren't necessarily gospel centered or gospel related. They were more Armenian based, but these faithful Armenian evangelicals wanted to create something similar with the gospel within it. So it started with a few people in 1977. In fact, one of the early members of that group was Jeremy's dad, Reverend Ron. You see his picture, in 1978 group pictures. He was a young guy. He was like a youth pastor at that point. Reverend Bear John Bazjan was in there. Pat and Greg Hakimian were the founders of the camp, and it basically started through them. And then for years, they actually rented different camps. They went to different locations because they didn't own the property that they currently own, or we currently own. And then in 1992, they bought the property in Fraser Park, the 45 acres that we have, which is owned by the Armenian Evangelical Union of North America, AEUNA. So since 1992, we've been at this location, and we've grown, incrementally over the years. If you just look at the decades, we've grown. We've not only grown in terms of people and people who come to camp, but we've also grown in terms of facility and infrastructure at the camp. So that's basically the history in little 2 minutes. So
yeah. For people who don't know, if you're listening and you don't know a thing about Camp Arev, it's like a huge influence on a whole generation of kids on the West Coast who went through church in the Armenian evangelical community. But it also, just as a side note for some people, if you don't know Armenian, Arev is the word for son in Armenian, but it's also the mixture of two words, Armenian and evangelical. So it's Camp Armenian Evangelical, Camp Arev, mixed into one. So
I did not know that. I did not know.
You didn't know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So on the East Coast, we have a camp called Camp Arev. We rent out property, but it's our version of that. And that's been a blessing for a lot of the Armenian evangelicals on the East Coast, myself included as well.
Yeah.
And Arev means sunrise.
East.
Sun east, yeah.
Yeah. Arev is literally means east. Arevmutk means west. So it was a great play on
another play on words there.
A word that is camp east basically. But it kind of relates to Arev and Arevelk together. So the meaning is son and Armenian evangelical. So
yeah. It's been it's been just influential in so many people's lives, and I think that a lot of people went into ministry because they went through that camp. A lot of people we joke that it's kind of like the find your spouse space, like because so many people have found their husbands or wives at that camp, including you, Razmig.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's we used to joke about that, but actually, it's not a joke anymore. It's the best. In my opinion, it's the best meeting ground. Up 4,500 elevation, you have no access to phone, and you're just talking to people. And especially in this day and age, you're able to kind of disconnect from all the world's distractions and actually sit and have a conversation with a counselor or a cabin mate or your friend that you came up with, or even somebody that you just met at camp. So yeah, the story goes back to 1995 when I first went to camp. I actually was born in Aleppo, Syria, and we moved to the United States in November of 1994. In November of 1994, we moved to the Bay Area. So in November of 1994, Calvary Armenian Congregational Church in San Francisco had just hired Pastor Steve Manchurian as their senior pastor. Pastor Steve Manchurian was the camp director from 92 to 94. And then he went to San Francisco. And as the newly, installed pastor, he urged three of us guys, which was the youth group, me, Arev Balabanyan, and Hirak Kalupjan.
Yeah.
And old school, big time old school. And he basically told us, you need to go to camp. So get this, he sent us to, it wasn't winter camp that January, it was an AEYF leadership retreat. And here we are, 15, 16-year-olds going to camp. So we went to Fresno and we rode with the Fresno group, which was really interesting for me because I didn't speak English.
Yeah. Straight out of Haleb.
Straight out of Haleb. I got stuck in a van by myself, and the two other guys were in a van together with other people. And here I am. I don't know what they're saying. I don't understand anybody. I don't know anybody. So the whole ride, I was just completely quiet until we got there. It had snowed big time, and then our van got stuck on the road. So all of a sudden, I hear this like really loud immigrant, accented guy saying, "What are you doing? Why are you stuck?" And it was Hirak Sabunjan.
Hirak Sabunjan, yeah.
Right. And literally in that moment, I felt calm in my heart. I'm like, oh, one of my people.
Yeah.
This guy yelling at me brings me peace.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like home all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So, and that was the first weekend at camp. And man, I got to tell you, that was, me being there, not understanding anything, not knowing anybody, was in and of itself transformational in my life.
Yeah.
I had accepted Christ that summer of 94 at camp in Kesab in Syria.
Oh, wow.
Reverend Nerses Balabanyan was the speaker that summer in Kesab. And he was the one that actually led me and many others at that camp to Christ. And then that winter we came to the United States, and then my journey at Camp Arev started. I met Jen in 1998 at camp. Man. She was a counselor. I was a coordinator.
You learned some English by then.
And then I had learned some English by then.
You had some game. You had some flirt game. You were.
I was in college. So my journey with my wife Jen started in 2000 officially. We started dating, and then we got engaged in 2004, got married in 2006, and we've been married since. And now we have 4 kids, and the whole journey started at camp. So I totally recommend people meeting other people at camp.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my wife was extremely blessed by the ministry of Camp Arev. She's from California, and she's really grateful for how she grew in the faith and had that community there too. I always joke around for people who are Armenian evangelicals, they're always looking for 3 things. They're looking for the holy trinity of someone who's attractive, Christian, and Armenian. And camp is a great place because it's not only people from your own church, it's a bunch of people from different churches. And you get to meet the entire community through these camps in the summertime. Yeah.
Yeah, Raz, you have been So you've been in pastoral ministry or congregational ministry. You've been in youth ministry. You've been, in all sorts of different contexts. But how did you go from like fob Holipsy kid at camp to the director of the camp over the course of what is it? That's like 20-ish years,
Yeah,
almost
it's
30 years.
yeah. So I mean, I felt the call to ministry right around like 2001 or so. Again, through Pastor Steve. Pastor Steve in San Francisco discipled me through my college years, and I'm truly indebted for his ministry in my life and in many others' lives. And throughout the years, I was always involved at camp. I was always there either as a worship leader or as a speaker or as a counselor. Yeah, every summer I was there. So after we got married, we were in pastoral ministry at UACC, and we've always had, both Jen and I, we've always had in the back of our mind that if the opportunity opens up, we'd love to take that opportunity and lead camp. We have a heart for camping ministry. There's something special there. There's something special in camping ministry that doesn't exist in any other ministry. It's unique. I mean, one of the unique parts about camping ministry is the fact that, in terms of youth ministry, let's say, you do a whole years of youth ministry. Let's say you gather together every Friday for 2 hours. Camping ministry for 1 week is worth a whole year of youth ministry. So it's just condensed, and you're together, you're living together, you're getting to know each other, you're getting on each other's nerves, you're smelling each other's stinky socks, and you're living life together, and there's nowhere else that happens.
Yeah.
And we just love that. We love the fact that we can gather kids together, youth and even adults, in one location, disconnect them from the world, and tell them about Jesus.
Yeah.
And there's something transformational in that. And I mean, it's even biblical, right? I mean, when Jesus takes his disciples up to the mountain, and there's that transfiguration that happens, they have a mountaintop experience. The disciples have that mountaintop, but they come back from the mountain. And I always tell the campers, you got to go home. Now you got to live life. What are you going to do? And that's super unique. I love it. I just love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
That's so cool.
You were talking about projects you're working on, and you did a tremendous job during these 9 summers of just really building the complex. You've added paintball, is it archery, zip lining? Is that all built by? And then what else do we need to have now?
Yeah. So when I first started in 2013, all we had was a mud pit and just some dirt fields that kids played on, which they were super content. I mean, they loved camp. People love camp because of the relationship aspect, right? Yeah. But I said, we got to add some pizzazz. We got to add some campy things. So I became a bit more involved in getting to know other camp directors, American camps, and kind of joining in on different conferences. I started going to the national conference and just networking with people, and I realized that there's a number of camping style activities that people do at camp that they can't do anywhere else. Zip lining, archery, and all these things actually create life lessons for the kids. To overcome your fear, to aim for the target, and things like that. So slowly but surely, I kind of devised a plan, and I said, we need to add some of these things. And I started talking to people, and lo and behold, there was a generous donor, anonymous donor, that donated $50,000. I mean, I've never had that in my life, right? I mean, all of a sudden I see a check of $50,000 in the mail. I'm like, wow, thank you, Lord, for this. And it was specifically for adding different activities and elements at the camp. So we added the zip line. We created a whole archery range at camp. We added a whole paintball course in the ravine at camp. We cleaned up our soccer field. We created a really nice sand volleyball. So we added a few things that create some activity for the kids. So there's some more things coming up, in the future, but that's what we have now, and it's exciting.
What are those things? I'm just on the edge of my seat wanting to know.
Yeah, so the few other elements that might be coming up in the near future, hopefully in the next year or two, is a high ropes course, creating kind of like an adventure course at camp among the trees. We are planning on building a whole indoor gym at camp for indoor recreation and different sporting activities, sporting tournaments and things like that. We are going to build a pool at camp, so we'll have some pool games and just pool time at camp. That'll be a good activity. And we're also going to hopefully either plant grass or put artificial turf on the soccer field. So we'll have a full-on soccer field at camp. And we are building not a baseball field, but a wiffle ball field at camp. So I went to this camp. I went to the Salvation Army camp, and they had literally a legal size, or whatever you call it, regulation size wiffle ball field. It was amazing. It was it's like literally a miniature baseball field. I'm like, we gotta have this at camp. It's low maintenance. It's low liability. No one's gonna get hurt, and everyone's gonna have fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, one of the other things we added at camp, actually, now that I remember, we added a 9-hole frisbee golf course at camp, all around the camp. So you can play this. I don't know if you've ever played disc golf or if you're familiar with disc golf. We've added a 9-hole disc golf course at camp. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
First of all, I didn't realize there was such a thing as a regulation size wiffle ball court, but that's pretty cool. I'm also really disappointed that you guys are updating the soccer field, because I remember playing soccer on broken down rocks and dangerous terrain, kicking balls around,
and that happened because I tore my meniscus on that soccer field.
Did you really?
Yeah.
It was a dangerous pitch.
Oh yeah, I mean, the soccer field we had in Kesab, Syria was better than this one. So I'm like, we got it. We got to do something.
We got to do better than Kesab, guys.
We got to do better than Kesab. So we cleaned it up, but we got to put some grass. We need some grass at camp. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the construction project you guys are doing. There's a whole new. That's another, man, I'm disappointed. That lodge was you took pride in being able to live for a week in that lodge because it was so dilapidated and broke down. But anyways, what are you guys doing to the lodge, and what are the construction projects you guys are up to right now? Yeah,
so let me share with you just a big vision, and then we'll get into the details. The big vision of the camp is that currently we have about 150 beds, 160 beds at camp. With the lower cabins being about 80 to 90 beds at camp, in the lower cabins, and then remaining it was in the lodge. So the big vision is to move the camp to become a legitimate conference center. Mm-hmm. And in order for us to become a legitimate conference center, we need to be able to host young couples, young families, elderly couples, men's retreats, women's retreats, and we need to be able to do that comfortably. Mm-hmm. And in order for us to move there, we had to create space for them. So the most logical thing to do for this time around was to renovate and expand the lodge. So the lodge that we've all grown up in, that we have so many memories, is now becoming the family lodging building. Each room will have its own bathroom. Each room can host 4 people, 6 people. There is a room for 8 people in there. So it'll be a total of 68 capacity, with 14 bedrooms and 14 bathrooms. So that's kind of like the start of our family camping ministry at Camp Arev. And then there's future phase 3 lodging, and eventually we want to get to 250 beds at Camp Arev. So yeah.
When is the current construction going to be wrapped up?
We're hoping that the current construction will be wrapped up around June, early June. is our hope. Yeah. So right now they're actually putting the roof on the lodge. I think there's inspection that is going to happen, and on Friday, once we pass the inspection, they start putting insulation in the walls and putting up drywalls and start finishing up all the details in the lodge. So it's really exciting. And one of the exciting parts about this lodge project is actually the center plaza that is coming with it. That is going to create a space for everybody to hang out between the lodge, the dining hall, and the chapel. So that part where we used to park our cars, that parking lot is no longer going to be parking lot. That's going to be the sort of like the center quad or the center plaza of the camp. So we have some amazing plans for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's quite remarkable just hearing the story of not speaking English for the first time at camp to kind of being the Kevin Feige of the Camp Arev with these phases here. We're in the middle of phase 3 right now, and it's amazing work. How can people know about when things reopened, how to join, maybe send their kids to an event, or if there's a conference, or even if there's opportunities for non-Armenian listeners to maybe use this facility to rent? Is there like a page for that, or what are some upcoming events?
Yeah, so camparev.org is our website. You're more than welcome to go and visit the website, camparev.org. We're also on social media pretty actively on Facebook at Camp Arev. You can follow us on the Facebook page, as well as Instagram. We're pretty active on Instagram at Camp Arev there as well. We do have a Twitter account, but we're not as active on Twitter because we're not pushing so much news. We'd love to have your email address so that we can send you frequent emails, updates and information about what's happening at camp. The near future camps that are happening, we are hoping that we're going to start our ministry soon here in 2021. We're really hoping for that. I just did a quick poll on Instagram, and 95% of poll takers, which we had about 80 people taking the poll, 95% of them said, bring back summer camp. We want summer camp. So we're moving forward as if we're having summer camp. But before we have summer camp, we're actually planning on having one-day retreats at camp for the youth. So that'll be in April 10, April 17, and May 1st. Juniors, junior high, high school. It's one day, no sleepover. We come in the morning, leave at night. A limited capacity of 50 campers, because that's how much we can host in the chapel and dining hall with all the social distancing rules. And that's coming up real fast in April, and we're going to be able to host those groups. We're really hoping and praying that we will officially reopen camp in June. And that's when you ask the question, non-Armenians or other churches that might want to utilize this facility for their own weekend retreats or leadership retreats or what have you. We're hoping that beginning of June we'll officially open camp with all the rules and regulations with COVID-19 related things. And hopefully we'll start getting people to come up to camp for their weekends. So nothing is certain yet.
Of course,
those things are going to be a little bit more solidified and certain in hopefully sometime mid-April. But we're praying. We're praying that we're going that direction, and we're praying that it'll happen. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How are you doing with 4 kids at home with COVID? I love you had this vision of having not only all this visionary stuff for camp, but I remember when we were getting to know each other, you had this 4x40 plan of wanting 4 kids by the time you turned 40, and you've achieved your goal. But how has it been just in COVID as a parent with 4 children?
I gotta say it's a mixture of a blessing and just really tough. Like it's been tough. It's been tough on the older kids because Armina is 8 now, and Sevan is 7. And one is third grade, one is second grade, and unfortunately, because everybody started on Zoom, we pulled them out of the Armenian school, and now they're in public school, and now they're going to school hybrid, but it's just that relationship building and the friends and going out and playing out on the field, whatever, that doesn't exist. So they're not able to make friends or have relationships with the other kids, even at the public school. So that's been really tough on them. Everything has been on Zoom for half a year. 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds should not be on Zoom, in my opinion. They should be learning in person, active, and all of that. So that's been really tough. The blessing part is that we've been all together, so we've been able to kind of create opportunities for us to, do some, ministry related things together. I wanted to share with you, I brought this. So we decided that we're going to start going through this book together. I don't know if you've heard of this book, the New City Catechism book. And it's a really cool book for those of you who are listening, to do with your families, with your kids. And it's kid friendly, so they get to learn just 1 or 2 sentences about who God is and who we are, and and all of that. And then there's a little verse that they memorize. So we've taken the opportunity to do that with our kids. We've upped the Armenian game at home. So the rule is you only talk to me in Armenian. You don't talk to me in English. So we've upped the Armenian game. So that's been good.
Abris, that's awesome.
So we've made most of our opportunity. But it's been tough. It's been tough for the kids. I mean, they know, oh, is this COVID? Do we have to wear our mask? Are we going in? Should we not go in? All those little details, it's crazy.
It's so weird. We're gonna be visiting family in a little bit in California, and we were driving the other day, and my daughter is 3. Gwen is 3 years old now, and she's like, when I get on the plane, am I gonna have to wear the face shield? And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, you don't have to wear the face shield. You're just going to have to wear the mask because that's the rules. They tell us to do it. She's like, so can I wear my face shield? Well, like, if you want to, like, we're not going to stop you. It's okay. If you want to wear the face shield, you can wear the face shield. She goes, I swear to God, she says, yeah, I'm going to wear my Mickey face shield because, COVID is going around. I think just to be safe. Because COVID's going around, I'm going to wear my face shield. Like, what 3-year-old ever in history has had to think, like, this thing is going around, I should probably take it? Like, it's going to have a massive generational effect, like, jokes aside.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how much they know about COVID and vaccines and social distancing and, hand sanitizers. And it's just crazy.
It's nuts.
So that's the life that they're living right now, and it's tough. It's tough to to go through it, but hopefully we'll get out of it. That's our hope. So the goal was 4x40. That was my personal goal, and by the grace of God, it happened. So we have 3 girls and a boy. Armine is 8, Sevan is 7. Ani is 5 and Masis is 2, and they're all a blessing, but they're all crazy in and of themselves, So they Armine is totally like Jen in personality, and she totally looks like me, So it's like this mixture of Razmig looking Jen personality, taking care of everybody, and doing the dishes and cleaning the doing laundry, all of that, And Sevan is this, social butterfly, like, just looking at so very, very artistic. She has really good handwriting. She's a lefty, So funny. And then Ani is the bulldog, she just rules everybody. And Sevan, and Masis is the prince, he's the only boy. So.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah,
so that's our family.
That's
and it's wonderful that you have this camp set up for your entire family, including Jeremy and mine's too. It's like just thinking practically, like, it's so wonderful that there's this thing for our children in the future, because COVID is going to go away. And my son is 4 months now, and it is crazy how you already start seeing personality, and he looks more like me or my wife.
Isn't it cool how like each kid is like a riff on like the two parents that produce it? Like it's nuts. Like a little bit of you, a little bit of her.
Yeah.
Like
and
some
it's
freestyle,
beyond,
some stuff that like doesn't even like you don't even know where it comes from. Like
and it's beyond looks, right? It's like personality, the way they talk, the way they, the way they eat, the way they chew. It's like, dude, where'd you come from? Like, who taught you that? I do that, but I never told you to do that. So
that's awesome. Raz, it's been really cool spending time with you today. Thanks for taking time out to sit with us and talk with us. And we're really excited about the stuff that's going out about Camp Arev. And just selfishly, like looking forward to when we can send our kids there, little juniors, and
always welcome. Always welcome.
Yeah. You guys need to start a preschool or something. I'm telling you, like eventually we just send our kids up there for preschool.
Well, once we have family camp, we'll have kids activities, and I'm looking forward to that. So that's I can't wait to have family camp at Camp Arev. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, amazing stuff, Razmig. Thanks for joining us. And thanks for all those who are listening. See you next week. God bless you.
Thanks.